Alright, decided to bring everyone out just so you could take a quick look at what she's going to look like. Fully decked out with the burst. So, yeah, she looks pretty good. Just have to do the lettering on the side and the stripes down the side. And it's ready to go. And today, video I'm doing today, and I'll bring you right in shortly. That right there, the windscreen. I got the prototype all taken care of, and hopefully all should go well. Hopefully. So we'll see how far I can get done with that today. I still got several hours to go before it gets before it starts getting dark, and I got to move stuff around again. So anyway, as soon as I get back in, I'll give you a really quick little heads up on how far I've gotten with the windscreen, and we'll take it from there. Alright, here is where I've gotten today. The whole goal today was to try to get the windshield done, and what I've spent probably, I don't know, three or more hours was doing that the final tuning of what I needed to do. It's because I've got so many hours wrapped up in this, because you want to make sure that this template is going to be, you know, almost dead on perfect, where I could just, if this was clear, this would be it. Alright, I had to come back here. You can see I had to drill a hole there because when I was setting all of this up, I needed everything buttoned down. I needed this part done, the one you saw in an earlier video of the centerpiece, and I put one there and one little screw there. These are going to be the screws that are going to hold down the real one. So they're all low. So what I decided to do was, as much as I've used this stuff in the past, I don't know, whatever I did with it, it's probably down below. It's the Formula 560 glue. I decided I'm not going to use the glue on this plane. If I wanted to use it, I could do it on the doors or do it on the side windows. I don't want to do it here. Just because I want this removable if it's got to come off. So I just want this held in place with nothing but screws. So it's going to be a lot of screws. I'm going to have to put a backer behind here and then over to here. And if it's just kind of sitting halfway decent here, I'll be happy with that. This side's nice and firm up against it. So this up here is just got to be pulled down. So if I had one block here in the middle, that might be enough just to suffice for what I'm looking for. This side over here, it needs to come a little bit long, so I know that these are going to be cut long and trimmed to fit once they get screwed in. You can see I made these little add-ons so I know where this needs to be sitting at on that side and on this side. So there was a whole lot of work done to get these things, a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Because I didn't want to be cutting into this wonderful material right here without a really good indication of what it's going to need to be done. This is the 40 thousandths. Now I didn't take this stuff and take it out and see what it's going to take to bend this stuff. This stuff is it's a pretty stout 40 thousandths. I may have to jump back down and go with the 30. That's why I got 30 and 40. So just only because you don't know what you have to work with. If I made a mold, because this stuff you can put it through a vacuum mold and it would work, but I'd have to make a whole, I would have to copy the whole front canopy of this. This would all have to be, so that way you can get something molded in through a vacuum mold to get it close to that size, and that would be insane. So I haven't decided yet. You know, I mean, it is money well spent. But I'm gonna take this out and see what it feels like compared to the plastic, the polystyrene. Because the polystyrene didn't really want to bend too much either, and it might be about 40 thousandths. I'm going to measure this stuff compared to the polystyrene. But the original canopy, somewhere, I think it's hiding around here somewhere. the original one was 30 thousandths. So if I needed to go back to 30 thousandths, that's what I'm going to do. Just if it makes the job easier. And you know, this is acetate. This is why this dried up and broke. This stuff, it doesn't do that. It's not. So yeah. So let me. I'll make a decision on which way I want to go with this. And then I'll let you know, because as you can see, I made this. I got enough so that I've got 2 attempts at the windscreen, and I only want 1, so that way I've got some extra. And because the template is you know, when you saw it, that what I've got for that prototype that I put on there, that's really close to being acceptable just the way it is. So if I just traced around it, you know, that's what I work with. The only thing I know for a fact is that this is set up exactly the same. This part here, once you trace around, is pretty good. It's just these. It's the side here and the side over here. I mean, I had this thing off, I don't know how many times today, where I was cutting more out and sanding. So anyway, that's about it. I'll see how far I get on this, because it's about 1:30, 1:45. So I'm eating up time today. So let me see what I can get done today, and I'll bring it back in from time to time, see how things are going, because I think I may just end up going for that 30 thousandths first, just to try it, because I get a feeling that it's that flexibility that I'm looking for. I think that's what I'll need to do. So I'll let you know as time progresses. Okay, with the template removed, I came out, did some more measuring. The 40 thousandths that I planned on using on it was a little bit too thick, because I've never worked with PET G plastic before. It's designed to be, you know, vacuum formed, but it was the wall thickness was too much. I couldn't get the bend that I wanted to out of it, and I seemed like I was forcing it, and that was just gonna bring up a whole new batch of troubles. So what I did is I opted to step back down to the 30 thousandths. Now when I measured out the 30 thousandths, it came out to 32 thousandths. This material is 27 thousandths, but of course it shrunk. It's gotten brittle. So that was originally, that acetate was originally 30 thousandths. The material, the polypropylene that I used, polystyrene, sorry about that, that I used for the template was the same. It was 32 thousandths. So I'm gonna go with the 32 thousandths. It's, you know, sometimes you just want I'd like to go with the heavier stuff, but it was just the bendability of it was just going to get in the way. So the 32 thousandths is nicely flexible, so everything's going to work just fine. I'm still attaching it the same way I was attaching the other stuff. It's just that it's just going to bend easier, which will make the job easier for me. So anyway, let me show you. I'll turn the light back on just so you've got a better view of what I did here. What I did is I had it all taped down and I drew around the outside of it. Now, the stuff that I know I don't need to make any changes to is from here on back. So these straight lines here, I just need to cut right on the inside of that. So that's my, up in here, this is also very nice, but I'm going to cut it a little bit on the, so I've got a little bit of a little bit of an area, let's just call it waste, that I've got to grind, may have to grind out to fine tune it. Out here where it attaches to the side, I'm going to cut these long. Even though that's where this one's cut, I'm going long on it. For the main reason that it's easier if I need something to pull on to get everything properly adjusted before I put the first screw through on the front up here, because this will all be screwed down first back here. When it comes time for me, I mean, I'm not going to put all the screws in. I'm going to put enough in to hold it into place. When this gets attached, I'm going to have this set up so that I'll have tape, it'll probably be reinforced tape, around the outside so I can pull it to get it the way I want it, and then I'll run the drill through and set the first screw in. once the first screw is set in, I'll make sure that I get the other side done with one screw in as well. Then I can, on the back side of it, I can go ahead and just draw a line where I know where to cut that off, so that it gives me a little bit of playing room on the framework. So this is the new, so this template, right now, I'm not going to throw this out. I want to make sure that this sits very nicely, because if anything ever happens where I need to replace it, I can just use the old one and use that as a template, just as long as it's well cut out. But for right now, until I get everything done, this is going to stay probably with me. I've got templates for that biplane for the tail that I built back in 2006. So we're 12 years later and I still have the templates for that one, because if I ever really needed to repair anything on the tail of that aircraft, it's a good thing to still have the templates, because the plans I've got somewhere, but the templates, if I built on those same templates, it's sized exactly for the plane the way it is right now, so there wouldn't be where I'd have to try to build something off a set of plans and then try to make it fit. I already know that the ones that I built on those templates already fit, so that's so anyway, I'll probably hang on to this as long as I dare. Minimum, it's going to be here until the plane gets at least the first flight in the air, so we'll see. It'll probably end up going into my storage for a couple of years, just so that I've got what I'm looking for. So anyway, the other thing that I did on this one was I came in and I put in dots. I gotta come in and remark this dot. Damn it, I thought I hit it. Where I've got the screws held through right now, so that way I can just come in right now with a drill bit well, I'll do it before I pull this covering off, because this covering will stay on there until I get ready to mount it. But that way I've got a mark where I know where to put the screws through, just to get everything lined up the way it needs to be. Alright, right now I'm just going ahead and cutting around this, and what I ended up finding was nice. It actually, the stuff actually cuts very nicely with a pair of scissors. You know, hopefully this stuff will last a long time, but it's nice to know that it does, you can work with it nicely. I mean, it's all going to be how the stuff performs, and hopefully it performs very nicely and doesn't, it's not supposed to dry out and crack, and it's also not supposed to yellow. So let's just hope that we're good, because, you know, 95% of the time, more than that, hell, probably 98, 99% of the time, it's going to be sitting inside. It's only going to be seeing the sunlight, you know, when I go to take it out to fly it. So, all right, let me get back to work cutting here, and I'll show you what we got when it's all done getting cut out. All right, this stuff's actually quite the dream to work with. I really didn't think it was going to be this easy to work with, I guess you could say. And because it is designed to work with heat in a way, even with a Dremel tool, what it does is it kind of softens up and then works its way in, but it never hardens when you're done. You just pull it, and here, let me show you. And then this side I came in and ground it down. I didn't grind it out all the way to the other side of the black line, but there's nothing left. There's no little, I don't even know what you want to call it, little tags left over. Stuff works real nice. We'll see what it looks like when I pull the when I get it all done and pull the covering off, because that's when you're going to do your final sanding. It's just before it gets laid on the plane. I can get this stuff sanded the best I can with this covering on. You can see I started moving some of the covering, so I'm hoping that nothing's scratched underneath. So I put a piece of tape over it with the hopes that, you know, it's going to look good. So anyway, all right, let me get back to work, and as soon as I get this set up on the plane, I'll bring it back just to show you where we're sitting with it. All right, good news. The fit is exemplary. I just got a little bit of trimming to do in one spot. But here, got nice tight lines here up around the side. These, I'm going to round these off a little bit. I'm going to round this one off. This one, we got a really good fit up here. These get trimmed off in the back, and this is going to be rounded out. I decided to round this out a little bit, and I'll throw down another screw there because there's going to be I got to figure out how I want to do this still, because right now we're looking really good up front. I mean, it's going to be held down just like this, right in this area. And I got to figure this one out, how I want to address this one, because it's going to be, I may have to tighten either this side up a little bit, because this side's already tight. So I'm going to come in, and even though I've got a hole here, I can grind it over. I can make it work. This, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it rotate. So I'm going to shave a little bit off of this and make sure that this is pulled down a little bit tighter, because this part here will get the little attachments behind it. There's going to be at least one or two back here behind this. I mean, that's not bad. There's a little gap there I don't like. I got to try to take care of that. This one's pretty tight. So, but no, it's getting there. It's getting close. So this, I've just got to go ahead and undo this screw. And even if it's going to be a little bit of a slot in there, that can work for now, because the next one above it, or the one I put down here, will cover for that one. But the rest of it, everything else is good. That's making me happy. So, all right. So this just needs screws. That needs screws, and more screws everywhere. But there it is. That's kind of the way it's going to look. So let me get back to the final little fudgy things, because in order for this to go away, this little piece right down here, this thing's got to move like a 1/64 of an inch back. So that's going to be easy to fix that. So I'll go ahead and I'll tweak that, and then I don't know, keep going. I can at least get all the holes lined up, drilled here, drilled down the sides. So I'll put more here, more here. I still have to cut these little wings off here, so I'm going to come in, make a mark, I'll take it off, I'll cut that now, and then I'll put everything back on and get this adjusted. So that's what we'll do. Alright, the better part of a day. It's 5:30 and my belly's saying it's time to feed me. So I'm saying I'm done. I'm done for the day. Alright, as you can see, there's screws everywhere, and I'm trying to make sure that they are lined up screws. So that's why I still have the tape up on top. That's all. This has to come off anyway, because it's got two coverings on the side, and I got to figure out if I want to paint this first before I put it back up, or paint it afterwards. I haven't decided. This, I still want to put at least a couple blocks up front here, even if it was just one in the middle, about yay long, maybe about 1.5 inches long, something to attach this to. That'll settle this down. I cut a little bit of an arc right here. That's what the other guy had. I didn't know if it was going to come into effect with this piece here, but you know, it's no big deal. So anyway, yeah, it's got a whole lot of screws, but it is on. It's on and looking pretty good. So yeah, so it's going to be a matter of me coming in, tracing a line around here. So once this gets that little piece attached, I'm going to come around with a pencil, trace a line around here very lightly, and then all of this up in here has to be painted black. So the black's going to come around the edge here, just on the inside where my line is, so you won't see it from the outside, maybe 1/8 inch up, because this will be painted, this will be painted orange down here. It probably about, some line about that thick, all the way around the bottom. So. And up the sides and over the top, and it's sorry about that. It's looking good. I mean, it's rock solid. It came out. I got some pretty nice tight lines there. I think this side I got a little bit of a gap. Yeah, just one little bit of a gap right there. You know, I can live with it. So I got bigger ones on the Piper Cub than that, but that's done, with the exception of this. So this will be done. I'll do this off camera during the week. Just come in, I'll figure out what angle this needs to be at. I'll take the cowling off. I'll get my bevel gauge, figure out what angle it needs to be at, go on a bandsaw, cut it, epoxy it where it needs to be. That's going to be the fun part. Do I want to epoxy it, or do I just want to super glue it and hope for the best? Or The other crazy thing is contact cement, but that's sketchy. You got to be dead on when you first touch it down to it if you do contact cement the proper way. So it'll probably be epoxied. I'm just gonna have to try to figure out some way to block the outside of it, so when I slide the piece in and put it down, I won't have to worry about, you know, pulling it in. So anyway, that's about it. Let's call it a night and a good weekend. With the weekend, I got the tail section, got the bursts on that, and you guys have already seen the picture of the plane. That was done. I took that picture this morning. So that was done yesterday on Saturday, and this, I had a feeling it was going to be the better part of the day, and it was a whole day. So anyway, it's good enough for now. So I gotta go eat, and I'll see you next time I'm back in the shop.